Welcome to MTG Friends, I'm Ryan.
I'm Josh.
And today we're going to talk about the Convoke Mechanic.
That keyword ability, Convoke, means for each colored mana in this spell's total cost, you may tap an untapped creature of that color you control rather than pay that mana. So, if you have a 4 generic, 1 red creature with Convoke, you can tap 4 of any 2 creatures and then 1 red creature and just play the spell without paying its mana cost.
How do you feel about that mechanic?
Anytime that you get to play a spell without actually having to pay for the mana is great. Especially in the case of instants where you can surprise people.
I concur. So we first saw this in Ravnica City of Guilds in 2005. And then we saw it again in Core 2015. And then again once more recently in Modern Horizons. Now, I was talking to you earlier about how this feels kind of like Phyrexian mana.
Yeah, it's similar to the way of getting around paying the mana cost. You get to pay life instead of, paying for the card, which is always good because then again, you can surprise people. We did talk about that. Check out our other video here. And
yes.
So let's get into it. What's our first one?
This
one's your favorite.
First one is Venerated L'occidon. It is a 4 colorless white 4/4 creature elephant cleric. And what's really cool about this thing is it doesn't have the legendary rules to it because it's not a legendary creature, even though it does some bueno stuff.
Yeah, without that legendary super type, it's way awesome.
4.
Yeah. Yep. So it has Convoke, and when Venerated L'occidon enters the battlefield, any creatures you tapped to pay for it get a +1/+1 counter.
Yes.
So it's pretty awesome because in and of itself, being a 4/4, you can drop it at any time almost. Well, not any time, but you don't have to have the mana for it. You can spend your mana on other things and then drop it at the end of your turn.
In fact, we're going to give you an example right now on Arena. Alright, so the setup for the Venerated L'occidon is to drop the Raise the Alarm at the end of the turn. Uno, dos, 1, 2. Those are white creatures, so that counts as Convoke for that 1 white that's needed. So now we have 3, 4, 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Cost 5, but we have Convoke. So drop it. Boom. Tap for 1. Goes down by 1 white. And then the rest is regular. And that is Convoke. Here, let's do it again. So we'll put in a land. Show the Convoke Mechanic. We need 1 white and the rest. So we have 3 on the board. So that's 1, 2, 3 that we can tap. But we're not going to tap the L'occidon that's already there. We're going to tap these 3. And actually, you'll enjoy this. What are you going to block that? What are you going to counter that? What are you going to do? Okay. I guess he doesn't want that there. So if I play these 2, there'll be 4 out on the board and I'll have 1 land left. So, well, let's let that resolve. So resolve. Boom. He comes out, so that's 3 mana on the board. 3, 4, 5, 6. If I do this for 2, I'll have 4 out. And now I have 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on the board if I want, which I do. So we'll do 1 white, 2, 3, 4, and 5. There you have it, folks. That is Convoke. And notice when Venerated L'occidon enters the battlefield, put a 1/1 counter on each creature that convoked it. You got to make sure that you convoke it, or else no 1/1. All right, so the next one up is March of the Multitudes. This is a X green white instant. Create X 1/1 white soldier creature tokens with lifelink. Now, not only do they get lifelink, but you can create all sorts of it. And the added bonus to this is an instant. That's so cool.
Yeah. At the end of their turn, if you have a bunch of creatures that are untapped, you can then tap all of your creatures. And if you have the green and white, you can tap all your creatures, double all your creatures. And now you have, let's say, 10 more creatures that are all one white soldiers with lifelink. And then at the beginning of your turn, they untap and they don't have summoning sickness anymore.
Oh yeah, that's a great card. It's a staple in
Surprise!
in this mechanic. So let's just go right on to the next one.
Yeah.
Hogak Arisen Necropolis. Boy, this thing, it got banned in Modern. It hasn't been feeling the love, but it does have Convoke, and it is a cool card. It's a 5 colorless, black green, 8/8 legendary avatar. I find that interesting. That's an avatar.
There's been a couple of
Yes.
cards with avatar.
So explain, Mr. Josh.
So you can't spend mana to cast Hogak. It's kind of a weird one, but you have to Convoke and
or delve.
Or delve.
Or both.
Or both. We also did a video on delve, so
Yeah,
check that out.
Check that one out.
Here, getting better at that. But so it has Convoke, Delve, Trample, and you may cast Hogak from the graveyard, which any card that regurgitates itself over and over and over again is always great. You know, these ever recurring spells are just amazing.
Yeah, Hogak is a great card, and the fact that it has Convoke on it and Delve. And I find it interesting on the card that they put the word trample at the bottom. Wonder why they did that. But just noticed that.
Yeah.
All right, next up is Conclave Tribunal. 3 colorless white. And it's got Convoke, like I said. When Conclave Tribunal enters the battlefield, exile target non-land permanent an opponent controls until Conclave Tribunal leaves the battlefield. This is just great removal tool.
So next we've got Chord of Calling. It's an instant, X generic, green.
A lot of green.
A lot of green.
So you're going to be running green. Oh, I also thought we should mention that a lot of these cards are very green heavy, and green decks are going to green and white. So it really likes to
It lives in those colors.
it lives there.
Yes.
My brain went dead for a second there.
It happens to the best of us.
Yes, it does.
But so when you pay it, you get to search your library for a creature card with converted mana cost X or less and put it onto the battlefield. Then shuffle your library, which is great. Because, I mean, if you have 8 creatures out, you can get an 8 cost creature out for almost nothing. You know, granted that you have the 3 green hanging out.
You could get Hogak out that way.
You could get Hogak out that way, yes. Yeah,
Yes, you
granted if he's not in your graveyard.
And Blightsteel.
Or Blightsteel. There's a lot of things you can do with this.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know why I had to mention Blightsteel again.
Always and forever.
Always. Right.
You vomit Blightsteel, I vomit Jace.
Yes.
That's all there is to it.
All right, Endless Obedience. 4 colorless black sorcery. That one was from Core 2015. Convoke, put target creature card from a graveyard onto the battlefield onto the battlefield under your control. Oh man.
Can you say any more?
No, it's just fantastic.
Put Hogak out.
And it's in black, so that's interesting.
Well, at this point, you'd be paying only 1 less than you would with Hogak. So, yeah.
All right, Hour of Reckoning. 4 white sorcery. And this one does...
Destroy all non-token creatures.
Ouch.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's nasty.
Especially if you had already cast the March of the Multitudes and you have 10 1/1 weenie tokens out and you're destroying everything else.
Bye-bye.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
Devouring Light. That one is 1 colorless white instant. Ravnica City of Guilds card. Boy, I was playing a lot back then. This has Convoke, exile target attacking or blocking creature. And I just kind of like this artwork
surprise!
Too. Surprise, surprise, surprise. Yeah.
You're tapped out, they don't see it coming.
And anytime you can exile one of their attacking or blocking creatures is bueno.
And then this next one I really love is the Impervious Great Worm. It's 7 generic, green, 16, 16.
That is very
creature
big.
Worm. Yeah, very big. In fact, glad you say that, because 1616 just happens to be, somebody tell me if I'm wrong, the strongest creature, highest power and toughness. I don't think anything else is higher or even matched to this particular card.
And it's indestructible.
And it's indestructible. It's indestructible.
Oh my lord.
Like the website.
Yes.
But,
yes.
It's great. It's huge. And if you're running a green deck that's creature heavy, it's easy to get this out. And just a 16/16 just looks intimidating as an opponent. You're just like, oh.
Yeah, and the only way they're going to get rid of this thing is exiling it, because it is indestructible.
Yeah.
All right, we have some honorable mentions. There is Chief Engineer, which I found very interesting and useful, especially if you're doing artifact stuff. It's a 1 colorless blue, 1/3 creature Vedalken Artificer. Tell me if I did that right in the comments.
I think so. Yeah.
It gives all artifacts convoked. And that's a blue spell, so that's interesting. There isn't a lot
things
of...
like Everflowing Chalice now has Convoke. You're like, oh, I can do a lot of stuff with that.
Do a lot of
That'll be
stuff.
fun. Then the next honorable mention we've got is the Tacthun Worm.
Yes.
It's a 9/14 trample that costs 10 generic green, white. It's
huge.
just huge,
but not
costly,
as cool as Impervious.
but not as cool as Impervious, which is why it's an honorable mention. And it doesn't have indestructible. So
no,
yeah.
but it does have trample.
Trample's good.
Ooh,
Trample's good.
9/14 trample. Tasty vittles.
And
Sundering Vitae. Did I say it right?
Vitae.
That's right.
Sundering Vitae. We've been struggling over the pronunciations on some of these ones.
Sundering Vitae. 2 colorless green instant, destroys target artifact or enchantment.
Surprise again.
Yes.
It's a good card, but we hate its pronunciation.
Yes. All right, and that is the list for Convoke. Thanks for watching. Hit subscribe. Be a friend of the gathering.
We'll see you next time.
That's your line.
It's all right. You stole it.